All right, ladies and gentlemen, everything appears to be in order. So let's go ahead and get this started. So it appears, going off of the Viz list, that not only is One Piece going on break next week, but My Hero Academia is going on break as well, which means that for next week, no chapter reactions from either My Hero Academia or One Piece. But let's go ahead and get the formalities out of the way because my family is on the way home with food and I cannot wait to eat my cold cut sandwich. It's going to be so good. Yo, peoples, Kyushu92 here, and welcome back to yet another iteration of My Hero Academia. Last we left off, we saw the big three doing their best to defend themselves and trying to attack Shigaraki, but Shigaraki's beyond superhuman body is just resisting their attacks. And then it gets to a point where it seems like they're running out of options, but we come to find out that Amajiki, Sun Eater, is pretty much their ace in the hole because he's the one that has like this boundless potential with his manifestation quirk, his manifest quirk. And last we see in the chapter is Sun Eater create a giant amalgamation of a ginormous cannon from all the foods that he's eaten in an attempt to really do some harm to Shigaraki with the help of Hado's energy waves. So now we get to see how this chapter starts. Chapter 362, Light Fades to Rain. And Amajiki's thinking, if I fail now, everyone in this coffin is utterly doomed. And then it cuts to Fat Gum in the past going, stand tall and proud, Tamaki. And then Kirishima goes, taking care of biz as usual, dude. And then Tetsu's behind him. And then Mirio, when he was younger, goes, I know for a fact that you've got some real special talents. That blindingly bright and shining praise, like treasures from them to me. Up to now, I could never fully accept it. I was crushed under the weight of that wealth. It just felt easier to be down on myself. Thank you, everyone. And then he takes the energy. He takes the energy from Hado and puts it into his cannon as it shows Shigaraki directly in the view, directly in the path of this cannon. Because now, that crushing weight, and it shows Shigaraki as he tries to shoot a wave. He tries to shoot a wave of fingers at Amajiki and goes, sneaky little pest. And then Sun Eater goes, fast hybrid, plasma cannon, and immediately blows a ginormous hole through all these waves of fingers coming to him. Because now that crushing weight makes me stronger. And then Amajiki just screams, get wrecked! And as he says this, the fingers are being blasted away as it makes its way towards Shigaraki. And then Shigaraki goes, you just don't get it. And then he gets hit. His fingers get hit as well. And then Mirio comes in and punches Shigaraki from the side using his permeation and sends Shigaraki well, actually, he doesn't send Shigaraki anywhere. It's just the plasma cannon shoots a ginormous beam that can be seen from all the way on the ground, like from miles away, and the beam goes across the sky, over an entire neighborhood, like over an entire coastline. And then it just shows the dust settling from this plasma cannon blast. And then Nejire is floating in the air, and she says, how? And it shows that Shigaraki is still there. It shows the plasma cannon being destroyed by Shigaraki's fingers. It shows Mirio, his arm got hit, but he's using his permeation to avoid the fingers altogether. And then Shigaraki says, think about it. Remember All Might in his prime? Would something so pathetic have killed him? Come on, use your heads! And then Shigaraki glares at Bakugo, who's up and walking. And then, wow, Bakugo is up. Whoa, wow. This boy just had his arm almost completely destroyed by Shigaraki. And he's just up and walking towards him. And then Best Jeanist is up saying, Baku! And then Bakugo goes, look after the others. And then Shigaraki is staring at him and his eye is kind of tensing up. And then it shows Bakugo walking towards him, wobbling, muttering to himself, face half messed up. As he goes, gotta win. Right, Izuku. Wow, he doesn't call him Deku anymore. He calls him Izuku. The boy has grown. Bakugo has grown so much. And Best Jeanist is screaming out, no, you mustn't. And then it shows Bakugo in a blink of an eye. It shows him in the blink of an eye using his explosion quirk to be right next to Shigaraki. You see like a bang where Best Jeanist is, and Bakugo is right behind Shigaraki. And blasts Shigaraki in the face with an explosion as he goes, right side. And then he dodges the right arm of Shigaraki. Like he sees Shigaraki try to swing at him, and he dodges it completely and somersaults next to it. And this surprises both Mirio and Best Jeanist, as Best Jeanist is thinking, he saw it coming and dodged it? And then Shigaraki is looking. Shigaraki is looking at Bakugo, and then a blinding light engulfs Shigaraki as we get the narration of Bakugo's quirk, apparently. Quirk, explosion. The sweat glands on his palms produce a nitroglycerin-like liquid that he can detonate. But the cluster upgrade he devised came with a side effect even he himself wasn't aware of. The act of saving up sweat into launchable beads put a terrible burden on the glands of his palms. With his sights set on victory, he kept storing those beads in the glands until they were forced to find other exits and leak out all over his body. Explosions. Wow, that is not how you spell explosions. Explosions is with an S, not with a T. Explosions all around his body gave him even more speed. My whole body hurts. Battling through the pain, fighting while trying to spot the enemy's tics and habits. This is basically the path you had to walk, yeah? So Izuku, can I still keep up with you? And then as he says this, his whole body just lights up. His whole body just lights up. And then it cuts to Shigaraki staring at him going, how is he ticking me off so much? This random extra who doesn't even possess one for all. And then apparently we see the first user. Does he see the first user of One for All? Not the first user, but the second user. The second user of One for All in Bakugo. Why am I suddenly panicking? Goes Shigaraki, and he just screams, Goda! And then, down there. And then the whole side panel just lights up as he tries to launch some fingers at Bakugo. And then Bakugo is just engulfed in light. And then it shows Bakugo in his UA clothes. Oh, no. Please don't be what I think it is. Please don't let this be what I think it is. Don't let this, don't let this be what I think. Please, God, please don't let this be what I think. It shows Bakugo in his UA uniform. And he's staring. He's staring at someone that looks like All Might standing in front of him, or someone else. But he's standing in this like the wispy shape of someone in front of Bakugo, and he's in his clothes just going, oh, right. So, thinking back to when we finally met, I was pretty much a punk going through some stuff. Yeah, this is All Might. This is a facsimile of All Might. And now that it looks like I've missed my chance, to ask. And then he looks down at a ticket, like a little playing card of All Might. And then he remembers back to when Bakugo and himself were kids. And they were jumping for joy over trading cards, and he holds up an All Might trading card, and he goes, "Man, I wanted an autograph so bad." And then it shows the inside of Bakugo's heart. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what this is supposed to mean. I don't know if this is supposed to mean that something happened to Bakugo's heart, but it looks like I hope that doesn't mean his heart exploded too. Because it shows his heart, and then it shows like light around where his heart is. And then it shows the big three coming in, trying to deflect Shigaraki and trying to grab Bakugo, I guess. And Bakugo's upper artillery shoulder cannons get blown off. And then it shows Bakugo hitting the ground and getting launched backwards, and Best Jeanist runs in to grab Bakugo, and we get some narrations. And then we have, I guess, a news report going, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to piece together what's going on. I really hope this does not mean what I think it is. And the news reporter goes, "We've had clear skies over the Kanto, Chubu, and Kansai regions, but according to the volunteer weather report, a sudden and drastic rise in temperature is disrupting the weather patterns." And then someone says, "Looks like rain." And then Shigaraki goes, "You were just tracing the earlier fight. Why'd you think you could win? We came prepared for today, with a perfect Demon Lord body ideal for the final boss." And it shows Best Jeanist, eyes open wide. "Understand yet? What's coming now is our story, the villain's tale." And then it shows Bakugo's mom. It shows Bakugo's mom going, "That kid of ours is no fan of rain." And then it shows Best Jeanist screaming out loud, "His heart!" And then Monoma is looking, Mirko is looking, Mirio looks absolutely livid, and Aizawa is screaming out I I I I I don't know what to say to this. I don't know what to say to this. Let me just say what happened, so you guys are not just wondering what happened. Um, Best Jeanist screams out his heart, and everyone looks on in horror as Bakugo lays on the ground with a giant hole in his chest. And as he's bleeding, right next to him is that trading card of All Might that he wanted to get an autograph on. And then it just ends the chapter with no words spoken, just a double spread panel of Bakugo laying there on the ground with a hole in his chest. Thought your computer froze there, didn't expect me to not move for a whole minute? Dude. Oh. Oh, no. No. No, 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 no. Hold on. Oh my goodness. See, this was my reaction when Bakugo got skewered by Shigaraki when uh Shigaraki skewered him in order to get his way to Midoriya during that big boss battle. Shigaraki hit his heart. Yeah, it says right here, because I'm looking at the chapter. In a white void, Katsuki sees a visage of All Might and tells him that ever since he met, there was so much going on, so he missed his moment to ask him, but he always wanted to get him to sign his All Might trading card. At that moment, Dynamite's heart bursts as Tomura smacks him in the chest, even despite the rest of the heroes attempting to help him recover him. His heart bursts. At this time, weather reports begin to notice a drastic change in temperature over the skies of Kanto, Chubu, and Kansai region, with civilians leaving it to be rain. Tomura mocks that all he was doing was retracing their previous battle, that they've come prepared with the perfect Demon Lord body for the final boss. That this is their story, the villain's tale. While Mitsuki Bakugo thinks about how their son was never a fan of rain, Best Jeanist screams out at Dynamite's heart as his body lies lifeless on the ground with a hole in his chest. Wow. Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't Izuku share One for All with Bakugo for a brief moment? That's not canon. That's actually part of the movies. He only did that during the movies. He didn't actually share One for All with Bakugo. That was just during the movie, and that's technically not fully canon. I know you got lunch coming, but there are so many theories. Hey. Go back to the chapter and you see Shiggy hitting his heart. See, that's the thing. I see him hitting Shigaraki in the chest here. And he hit him so hard. But here in the panel where it says Bakugo, when Bakugo says, man, I wanted an autograph so bad, it shows an image of the inside of his body where his heart is, and it shows that bursting. Because if you look at it, you see jagged edges around like the outer ends where the light is enveloping the heart versus, the smooth edge that you would normally see with the heart. That's the thing that's sticking out to me. Wait, you're saying Shiggy hit it out, go back to the chapter, that's why there's a hole there? See, here's the thing, though. He popped his heart by punching through his body. But then you got to think about this chapter going through talking about how he built up all these beads in his body. Like, why did we get the reintroduction of Bakugo's quirk? Sweat glands on his... the act of saving up sweat into launchable beads put a terrible burden on the glands of his palms. With his sights set on victory, he kept storing those beads in the glands until they were forced to find other exits and leak out all over his body. So whenever he kept building up his clusters, it kept having the effect of making it so that his hands couldn't effectively have exit ways for those built up explosive beads to go out of, so they had to find other ways to escape. So basically, whenever he used his cluster grenades, it was a double-edged sword. And it kept making it so that his body couldn't have a way for it to go out. Which means that he kind of backed him. Did he back himself up? He kind of backed himself up and clogged his system with his constant cluster grenades and constantly using it, causing it to seal up those exit ways he could normally use his cluster. Until there was no way he could go out of his hands, so it had to find other ways to do it. So he's been building it up all this time, and I guess, see, here's the thing that popped into my head when I saw Bakugo doing this. I thought of Vegeta. I thought of Vegeta when Vegeta used his solar flare against Majin Buu. Like when Majin Vegeta decided to use solar flare to the point where he turned into stone, I get reminded of that. His quirk evolved, that's why they explained that he could use explosions all over his body, because before he could only shoot out of his palms. He told Izuku to kill himself, and he killed himself with his own quirk, Karma. That's not Jeff, that is not the type of message that Horikoshi would be sending with Bakugo. You see explosions coming out of his face right now. That's not the thing I take away from this. I don't take away that he made fun of Midoriya and told him to take himself out and kill himself, and then he winds up doing this in return. That's not what I get from this. That's not the thing I take away from this situation. So many questions from this chapter. Did Bakugo actually see All Might's vestige? And does Bakugo have a connection to the second user of One For All? So many things, because why would the second user of One For All appear in front of Shigaraki and make him panic? Tomura panicked in front of Bakugo. So why would that happen? Why would a vestige of All Might appear in front of Bakugo? Why would Tomura see the body shape of the second user of One For All in front of him and panic and attack wildly? So maybe he does. After some quick Google magic, he found that Horikoshi considers the movie Heroes Rising canon to the manga storyline. So it is in fact canon then. So that movie, Heroes Rising, is canon. So did he in fact... Wow. That's interesting. Guess I need to watch Hero Rising then. Like, I know of Bakugo using One For All during that movie, but apparently that movie is canon, which means that... Don't believe this coincidence that the second user and Bakugo share a striking resemblance. I don't know what the connection is, but there is one either biological or symbolic. This would explain how Bakugo is able to see the second user. Bakugo wanted Deku to get away from him in the beginning, but Bakugo literally in the end did the same thing as Deku. 9 was shown in the manga. Right. So, oh, wow. So I've been missing out. My apologies. This would explain how Bakugo is able to see the second user. Great movie, you say, Grant? I'm probably going to have to watch it then. Do I have that? No, what I have is 2 heroes. I need to watch Hero Rising. I need to watch all the My Hero Academia movies, but wow. Wow. Imagine Michelle. Michelle is one of my members and one of my subscribers here, and she enjoys reading through this, but I would not be surprised if Michelle has something to say about this chapter in particular. Wow. So, this chapter ends with Bakugo's heart seemingly bursting and leaving a hole in his chest. And here's the thing. All that buildup for Sun Eater using his ultimate move, the vast hybrid plasma cannon at Tomura, and it still didn't do anything. And apparently he also loses his left. Wow, I didn't notice. Not only did Sun Eater's attack fail to take out Shigaraki, but it also made Sun Eater lose his arm. He apparently lost his arm. I'm trying to find the panel where you don't see his arm anymore, but apparently he lost it. It's saying that Sun Eater lost his arm. Oh, wait. No. No, yeah, he also loses his left arm to Tomura's attack, apparently. Next week break for manga, though. Yeah. Can Sun Eater... Shigaraki is making faces and eyes on the extra arms. Yeah, he just built up where Shigi says, use your heads. Hold on, let me come back to this. This is why I like doing it live. Ah, I see it. In the panel where it shows Nejire saying how, the next panel over, you see his arm being taken. Taken and destroyed by that. And then we see Mirio get injured a little bit, like a little blood appears on his arm, but his arm doesn't get taken off. But we see it here in that panel. The one that isn't crab-like, because his right one is crab-like, but his left one, that got completely destroyed by the finger attack. Okay, I see it now. I see it. Also, this chapter was great, 10 out of 10. Gonna get that last panel as a poster on my wall. Didn't Horikoshi say regarding Heroes that the ending was the way he thought about ending the series? Next week for break. Yeah, no My Hero Academia or One Piece next week. They're both going on break. Bakugo being faster than Shigaraki means that in speed, Bakugo is faster than Prime All Might. I didn't notice, can Sun Eater eat an animal that can regrow the limbs, or Eri? If he ate some starfish, that might help. Shigaraki's making faces and eyes on the extra arm. That's why the electrical barrier isn't going to hold Shigaraki anymore. If all of that can't hit him, no way a barrier is going to hold him. That's the scary thing, Ali. If it's canon, it gives rise to numerous theories. Bakugo, as an albeit brief but still former user of One For All, lets him converse with the other users. Also, it could mean Deku could inherit his quirk. Could Shigi make clones of himself? I don't know. Anything is possible, because his body is still constantly evolving. Remember that guy from the Sun Eater episode where the villain with the larceny quirk took Tamaki's stuff? It would prove closer for Deku while allowing Bakugo to remain relevant to the story. Incredible chapter. This feels like a war. It really is a war, because people are getting grievously injured and fatally injured. By the way, your prediction, Aizawa will now attack. And if he attacks and leaves Monoma, and Monoma is not able to keep Shigaraki's quirk under wraps, devastation abounds. See, every single time it seems like the heroes are about to... I just spoke to Michelle about this, one of my viewers, because she likes to comment on all of my Hero stuff. I just talked to her about how it seems like it just feels like every single time the villains feel like they're about to have a big triumphant moment, then the heroes come back. And I was just talking to her about how the heroes have not yet begun to fight or something along those lines, and now the villains have just dealt a massive, grievous blow to one of their top people to be fighting right now. Aizawa can't attack since Monoma needs to touch him to use his quirk without a time limit. Exactly what I was thinking. Throw Bakugo some shade, would lose a fight from Mr. 5 from One Piece. See, a lot of people might be jumping on the bandwagon of clowning Bakugo right now, but now is not the time for that. I'm not doing that. This dude had shown actual personality improvement. Back when Midoriya was out going after the headhunters, after the people that escaped from Tartarus, like the people that All For One sent out to get Midoriya, Bakugo was one of those people that spoke to Midoriya to bring him back to his senses, and even after that started to become better socially, personality-wise, and even started to address people by their names rather than the nicknames he gave them. So Bakugo actually showed some character progression as a whole. My Hero Academia Hero Association, no All Might versus One Punch Man Hero Association, no Saitama. They got Terrible Tornado. That's already a massive jump for them. They got Terrible Tornado, and yeah, there's a lot of people on the Hero Association side in One Punch Man that could very easily one-shot people from the Hero Association of My Hero Academia. But I can't say any more about One Punch Man because I have not fully caught up. I'm still working on that. But man, what a chapter. People are going to be upset. Oh my goodness, people are going to be upset. Or maybe Monoma can warp Shigaraki into space? Maybe. That's a possibility. But there's so many things to consider right now. And now Horikoshi is going to leave us with a whole 2 weeks to wait to see where these things go. Think everyone in the floating dome is going to die by the time Izuku gets there? Let's just leave that sort of theory for when we come back. It's very easy to think wild theories like that, but honestly, you think the only person who is going to take on All For One is Tenko Shimura. My Hero's on the lower end of the power spectrum of shonen manga. I mean, you got powerful people, but in comparison to people like in One Punch Man and other series, yeah, they're on a little bit lower side. They're not planet bursters, but you got some strong people. But I can't say anything about the fate of people. I knew that this war was going to have some casualties. I knew it. I knew this war was going to have some casualties, but I'm not going to go as far as saying like, oh, everyone here is going to die. Before Jeff, that has got to... What the heck, Jeff? Hopefully Eri can't save Bakugo? Hopefully this person dies? What the heck, Jeff? Horikoshi may be going to the unused Volume 30 chapter. I think it was Volume 30. We have incredible cliffhangers, Bakugo's death, All For One's face reveal, Toya's light in his chest. Show of hands, please. Who here thinks Bakugo needs to stay dead? I can't say. I can't say. Because I go from a chapter to chapter basis. Because I just want to see where things go. Because if I say, like, I hope Bakugo stays dead and he still remains alive or he's still alive, then that's just going to make me look bad. So I ain't going to say this. You was joking with the poster, but some people really hate Bakugo, don't they? Yeah. You need more death. You say you need more death to make it feel like a real war. This... I mean, it can be a war without killing a person every 10 chapters, though. This is going to be a delicate situation. If Kohei brings back Bakugo, he's going to have to handle that well. Exactly. This is something we just have to wait for to see to see the official confirmation. This is the reason why I can't decide on any side of the spectrum. I myself have to wait. Good to see you, Gajeel. Yeah, this chapter got you too, huh? I can't make any adverse decisions about which side I fall under concerning this chapter because we need confirmation. It's one thing to see it just happen and then it ends that chapter. It's another thing to get the official proclamation. Because a lot of us were thinking, maybe Midnight is okay until we got the official announcement that we lost Midnight. If Bakugo's... If Bakugo stays dead, that's going to be an issue. Also, this is like a no-win situation. If Bakugo lives, that's one thing. If Bakugo dies, that's another thing. So both sides of the same spectrum. Izuku is going to lose it, which is exactly what Shigaraki wanted to happen. Because when Bakugo was facing against him, and the moment he crushed Bakugo's arm, he wanted to say like, hey, Midoriya was mad and upset the first time he thought you died. So let's see if we can have that happen again, because I need him to be in that pit of despair so I can take one for all from him. If Midoriya gets there and he sees Bakugo, who knows just where his mental state will be? Because we all saw him lose it against Shigaraki when Shigaraki first woke up. There was a hole in his chest. Aries' horn is too small because of Muriel, so there's no normal way to help him. We just have to wait. Nothing personal against Bakugo as a character, but I just hate it when writers give a character an epic and emotional death only to be like, gotcha, I'm looking at you, Oda. Yeah, you're kind of right. Oda does do that sometimes. Make you think that someone died and then they're still alive. Like the first biggest instance I remember is Pell during the Alabasta arc, where he brings up an entire bomb and it explodes with him point blank. And then after the events of Alabasta, he's shown to be mended and being taken care of, and he's fine. So yeah, Oda is kind of famous for that. But we're just going to have to see. We're just going to have to see. That's all I can say. Wow, I actually carried the stream on a lot longer than I was expecting, but how does one just think about Bakugo laying on the ground with a hole in his chest for 2 weeks? We're going on break for 2 weeks. Fairy Tail is the worst for death fakeouts. Fairy Tail is bad for a lot of things. Like, I'm pretty sure a good deal of us love the fan service, but they're not known for fan service. They're known for my friendship is my power and talk no jutsu your way out of things, and then just people just either being faked out and thought dead. Like, think about Liz, the girl that pretty much prompted Urza and Natsu and Gray to be the type of people that they were, because they thought about Liz's death, but then it turns out that she just fell into another dimension, and was living there the whole time. Oda's most recent fake out was Pound. Yeah, you thought Pound was dead, but nah, he's fine, and he went out to try and find his 2 daughters and meet his grandson in the cover story of Gangbei's Oh My Family. I remember that. If you recall from the first war, first Deku versus Shiggy battle, none of the previous One For All users talked to Izuku. This time, maybe the second user especially can keep Deku on track. We'll have to see. If Eri could use her quirk again, why didn't she rewind Aizawa's eye back? There are a lot of factors to factor in here. So this chapter will just... I feel like Eri as a whole has so many theories about, well, if she could do this, how come she didn't do that? If she could do that, how come she couldn't do this? A lot of things just surrounding Eri as a whole. And the limitations or upper limits of her quirk. And it's like, well, if she could do this, then maybe she can reverse All Might to back before he got injured, and then he can use One For All again. You hope Oda just starts killing everyone in the final war? I believe, Jeff, honestly, you're the type of individual that needs a bunch of people to die during war-like sections of stories in order for it to actually feel like a war. So it doesn't surprise me that you would say that. But it's not necessary for tons of people to just die just because you think they should. I'm just saying. Think Overhaul's quirk would be better suited for healing? I mean, he can explode people's entire upper half, but also bring them back again, so it could be useful. Unfortunately, he went down the side of villainy. Villainy. And that's, I mean, imagine him as a doctor. He would probably rival Law as a doctor if he can just disassemble someone and then bring them back. Who knows what he could change in a person when he takes out, like, growths in their body or whatever, and he can just bring it back again. He could have been a great doctor, but you know. But I'm droning on. Aries' quirk is being used for the villains instead of heroes, since All For One is rewinding using rewind. Yeah, you're right. Because that's the trump card that All For One himself used after Endeavor pretty much burned him to a crisp. He reverse engineered the quirk the quirk erasing drug and turned it into a quirk restoration drug. So instead of it taking something, it restored. And now he's using that on himself, restoring his body to where it used to be. The real All For One is restoring his body. While Shigaraki while the being known as Tomura is evolving his body with the hopes that All One's consciousness inside of him will take him over so that All For One can have the perfect body. The perfect evolved body that transcends quirks, which is essentially what Shigaraki's body is doing right now. Eri isn't really a good idea to rely on because she still hasn't mastered her own quirk. Exactly. You could rely. That's the reason why you can't really rely on Eri right now. She's focused it a little bit, but just enough to bring Mirio back to his quirk state. But she's still not super refined and she's still not perfected it. Because if she goes overboard, she could erase a person from existence. That's what she did to her parents. So we cannot use Eri as a crutch. We can't, because it's very easy to think of her as the end-all, beat-all thing to restore someone back to where they used to be, but she's still just a child. She's not reformed yet. We can't have her as a crutch, like the end-all, be-all way of restoring someone back to the way they were before, because then she becomes a Deus Ex Machina. Hey, you almost died? Eri, come here, restore him back. That would take away from the gravity and the weight and emotional atmosphere brought on by a character dying or a character being grievously injured. It would reduce the impact if all they had to do was all like, hey, you lost your quirk? That's fine. No stakes. Just bring in Eri. So Jeff is right. We cannot rely on Eri being the one fix option. For this story, it has to be consequences. There has to be consequences. Now, while I agree with Jeff that when it comes to a war, there will be casualties and everything, I'm not going to agree with Jeff I'm not going to agree with you, Jeff, as far as like a ton of people need to die. But I understand that when it comes to a war like this, My Hero Academia has not been shy about showing the deaths of children, showing the deaths of kids, showing the deaths of adults. No one is exempt from this. But at the same time, all those deaths happening and everything, it needs to fit with the story. And it fits with the story when those things happen. So, we cannot rely on Eri coming in to save people we think are going to die just because they're either fan favorite characters or because we love them so much or just hope that they won't die, because then it would loosen the impact of whatever sacrifice they're making. Bakugo jumps in front of Shigaraki, preparing to explode himself with all those built-up explosive beads in his body. If Eri just brings him back to normal, it would make this whole chapter where he's just reminiscing about his life, his life flashing before his eyes, it would lessen its emotional impact and importance if later on Eri just comes back and restores him. It's like The Rise of Skywalker. Yes, I'm bringing up that horrible movie. It's like The Rise of Skywalker putting up the stakes of the only way for C-3PO to tell us where Exegol is and for us to go there is for him to have his mind wiped. So they put up in this frame, hey, I'm just taking one last look at my friends, and the only way that's going to happen is if we wipe his mind and then he can speak the Sith language so we can know. That sets the stakes of, C-3PO is going to lose his mind forever and forget about everybody. But all of that is immediately lost when at the end of the movie, we find out that R2 kept a backup of C-3PO's mind, and it's just like, oh, so all those stakes, all those emotional weighted feelings and impacts meant absolutely nothing by the end. So it was just there just to get you in the moment, and that was it. That is not how Horikoshi writes, so we do not need Eri to become the Rise of Skywalker C-3PO. We do not need her to become that. Eri, when she's an adult, she's going to be really broken as she becomes a hero. I think she is. I think Oda said in a new interview that he plans to end One Piece in 2024 or 25. I think the point Jeff is trying to make is that more characters we love dying shows actual stakes and thus improves the arc as a whole. I see that. I agree. I agree. It's just that the way, if that is how Jeff was saying it, then the way it looked to me was like a whole bunch of people just need to die in this war in order for it to really feel like a war. If that's how he meant, then I agree. If what you say, Shonen Sensei, is what Jeff actually meant, then I agree with him. The more characters we love end up, being casualties, the more stakes and more serious it feels for this war and to bring it to its end. Because because I'm gonna be honest with you, and I have to agree, and I'm gonna agree with Jeff this way. That's how you view it? Okay, Jeff. Then if that's how you meant it, then I agree with you. I agree with you. That's how you meant it. I agree. Because at the end of the day, if we have this big old war and then everyone just walks away and then people just walk away with like slight injuries and they just walk away and, walk away into the sunset like we beat the villain, haha, high five, and then like everyone is still there, then it lessens the impact of the war as a whole. So with that, I agree with you, Jeff. Because this is a war. People die in war. No one is war is not age specific. Anyone can get swept up in it. Even fan favorites. And especially right now, due to this chapter, I feel like people are going to be talking about this one chapter for a very long time. But it's going on 46 minutes. I don't want to talk your ears off because I still got to do my One Piece episode reaction a little bit later after I get my food. I'm going to wait until my food gets here and then I'll do my reaction afterwards. But overall, this was a fantastic chapter. But what does it mean for Bakugo? There's your thing. Where did R2 get the extra memory? Disney pulled it out of its behind. There. Because no actual writers, were there in the room when they came up with this idea. Heroes Rising is not all canon, only 9 is canon as a user. The one for all passing part to Bakugo is not canon at all. Okay, see, that's kind of what I was feeling. Just 9 from the movie is canon as the user, but one for all passing part to Bakugo is not canon at all. Okay. Ace and Whitebeard's death hit hard, making it the perfect arc to you. Perfect arc to you. I can see that. 9 as a character. 9 as a character, not 9 as a user. The only canon person is 9 as the user. It could be canon after this chapter. We just have to see. Let's all just agree that we have to see after we come off on break. We'll be able to go back and look at Heroes Rising and then come back here. We'll come back here 2 weeks from now and see where the story goes from here. We'll see. Family just got home with food, so this is a perfect time for me to stop. But this was a great talk for everyone here. 18 people here from My Hero Academia stream. That's surprising because I usually don't get that many people on a regular basis. But I thank everyone who showed up here. We talked about a lot of things. Jeff, Muddy, Tank King, Shonen Sensei, everyone who showed up, Ali, Nico, everyone who showed up. This is Gajil and Grant. This is something we're going to have to ponder for a while because we're going on break from a chapter like this. So we have no choice but to wait on Horikoshi to bring us back with the next chapter. Overall, we're just going to have to see what state Bakugo is in and get the official confirmation. That's all I can say. We just got to wait for that official confirmation if Bakugo is in fact lost to us. That's all I can say. But I do know one thing. This war is claiming more people. It's claiming more people. So it already feels like a war, but it's already starting to claim more people. So the stakes are rising. We cannot lose any more people. That's how you know the stakes are rising, when it comes to the point where we simply cannot lose any more people. But that's all. I'm done. Hope you all enjoyed. Can't wait to see you all in my next video. And if you're new to the channel and you enjoyed what you saw here today, then like, subscribe, and maybe even consider becoming a member, because I am always looking forward to entertaining you. So have a fantastic day, and once again, as always, later, peoples. I just want y'all to know I just love having these talks with y'all, these long talks. I enjoy them so much. But now we're going on break, so we just gotta wait